The doors to the courtroom swing open, and in steps the senator's wife. She is a striking figure, draped in luxury, her every movement calculated to show her superiority. The hush that falls over the room is palpable, but she pays no mind to it. Her eyes sweep across the other defendants waiting their turn, those ordinary people caught in the grind of life. She doesn't acknowledge them. She's above them. As she adjusts her designer handbag and flicks her hair back, she strides forward with the poise of someone who expects to be treated differently, who believes the rules don't apply to her. Her entrance stirs a wave of unease through the courtroom as the others watch in silent disbelief. The tension builds like the tightening of a string ready to snap. She takes her seat at the front, facing the judge, and the contrast between her confident, dismissive demeanor and the solemnity of the court only heightens the sense of imbalance. This is no mere traffic violation. This is a collision between entitlement and justice, and the clash is about to begin. Judge Caprio, calm and measured, calls the case. His voice carries authority, but there's no hint of malice. He asks her about the violation. She responds with a thinly veiled smirk, brushing it off as nothing more than an inconvenience. "It's just a small mistake, Your Honor," she says with an air of detachment, as if she's merely requesting a favor, not facing the consequences of breaking the law. The judge's patience is tested, but he remains composed, his tone still respectful. He reminds her that everyone in the courtroom is subject to the same rules regardless of their status or connections. But she isn't listening. Her voice rises slightly, challenging him, as if daring him to step out of line. "I'm sure there's been worse cases here today, Your Honor," she says, her words dripping with condescension. The courtroom begins to shift, the tension thickening in the air. The murmurs of disbelief swell as the judge's calm demeanor begins to crack. He warns her to respect the court, but her defiance only grows. The argument escalates, the power struggle clear. The senator's wife, who believes she can manipulate the system, and the judge, determined to uphold the law. She challenges his authority, and in doing so, she sets the stage for the unraveling of her carefully constructed world. The judge calls for a recess, a moment of silence falling over the room as the court officials review her file. The calmness of the courtroom now feels like the eye of the storm. The pages of her record reveal a different picture. Her privileged background, her influence, and the countless times she has used her husband's power to escape the consequences of her actions. This is no ordinary case. This is a woman who has manipulated the justice system for years, hiding behind a veil of wealth and influence. The truth emerges in the cold, clinical manner of the court documents. Testimonies reveal past infractions, speeding tickets dismissed, property damage ignored, all because of who she is and who she's married to. The shock hits the courtroom like a wave as the senator's wife's carefully constructed image starts to crumble. The realization dawns on everyone, including her. She's no longer untouchable. The emotional shift is palpable. She tries to maintain her composure, but there's a flicker of fear in her eyes, a crack in the perfect facade she spent years building. The tension has shifted from a simple traffic violation to a full-blown moral reckoning. Judge Caprio turns back to her, his voice steady but filled with quiet disappointment. He doesn't need to raise his voice to make his point. He's already said everything with a single glance. Disappointment, not anger. He's about to lay bare everything she's done, the weight of her arrogance and corruption on full display. "You believe you're above the law," he says. "You've used your position, your connections, to manipulate the system for years. This is not just a traffic violation. This is about respect for the law, respect for the people who follow it, regardless of who they are or what they have." Her face pales. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. The silence is deafening. The courtroom holds its breath as the full force of her actions descends on her. The camera captures her stunned expression. This is a woman who thought she could escape it all. But now, in the cold light of justice, she is exposed. Her pride, her privilege, and her disregard for those she deemed beneath her have brought her here. And now, in front of a judge who isn't afraid to call her out, she must face the truth. The tension in the room is at its peak, the final confrontation between arrogance and accountability. The judge delivers the verdict, a hefty fine, community service, and public accountability. The punishment isn't just financial, it's social. She's forced to confront not only her violation, but her privilege. Her face twists in disbelief and anger as the words sink in. She, who thought her wealth and status would shield her, is now on the receiving end of the same justice as everyone else. The crowd murmurs, some in approval, others in surprise. But the message is clear. Privilege does not equate to impunity. Her anger simmers beneath the surface as she stares at the judge. But there's a moment of clarity, a flicker of realization that, no matter how hard she tries to deny it, her world is no longer the one where she can control the outcome. The punishment is fitting. The weight of her arrogance is now replaced by the reality of her accountability. The emotional release in the courtroom is palpable, the tension deflating like a balloon finally freed of its air. The final chapter captures the fallout. Outside the courthouse, the cameras flash, capturing the senator's wife as she leaves, her once perfect image shattered. The media swarm her, asking questions, capturing every moment of her disgrace. Her social circle begins to distance itself, and she is left alone to face the consequences of her actions. The camera lingers on her, walking away from the courthouse, her head down, a stark contrast to the confident woman who walked in. The lesson is clear. No one, regardless of their status or power, is above the law. She may have been a woman of privilege, but in the face of justice, she is nothing more than another person held accountable for her actions. As she disappears into the distance, the story ends on a quiet but powerful note. Justice has been served, and the lesson of humility echoes in the air. The world may never see her the same way again, and neither will she ever see herself the same way. The power of the law has brought her down, and the reflection of her actions will stay with her long after the courtroom doors have closed.